When it comes to parenting, we all have our own styles, but there is a movement to simplify. Just like the so-called minimalist trend to live with less, parents are finding ways to enjoy family life more by doing less. I love this idea personally. Dr. Joyce Sibbett is here to explain. So set us up with a broader view of this. How is it that you can minimalize your parenting? Does it mean less parenting?
Definitely not less parenting, but simplified, more focused parenting. So it's about creating an opportunity to have more time, more meaningful time and space with your children.
And that seems like a pretty attractive thing. How does it benefit moms, dads, kids? How is this beneficial?
Well, as you think about having more time, as you think about having space with your children, you've got choices. You've got time for conversation. You've got time to be involved in the things that your family enjoys. And so it benefits, you know, when you declutter your space, you can declutter your mind. And children can declutter their minds too. And that's what opens up opportunities for meaningful experiences.
And you say, speaking of decluttering things, one of the things is to get rid of toys. Don't have as many toys.
Yes, and you know, we can go to the store and have impulsive buying, and children get affected by commercials and all the stuff that's out there. And the idea is, let's buy less. Let's really put some thought into what children want most and have them look forward to what they want. And in the meantime, enjoy what they have. And that also means filling a bin full of toys and putting it on the shelf and then rotating it next month. And with your child, decide what are we finished with? What can we give to a charity so that we can continually monitor that playtime. And the big thing is, if you have less things, less stuff, children have fewer choices, but they can enjoy what they have more. They can delve more deeply into the play, into their imagination.
That is interesting, that kind of opens up some time for creativity if you have less to kind of put your hands on. Mm-hmm. Now, do parents need to spend more time kind of identifying what their family needs?
I think it's really important for parents and children to talk together, to find out what do we value most in our lives. If we have less clutter and less that we're cleaning up all the time, that in itself is more time. So what do we want to do as a family? Do we want to go out for a walk? Do we want to make lunch together? Do we want to play a game? Do we want to make that visit to a family member that maybe we wouldn't have had time for if we're spending our day tossing clutter around?
You know, it is funny because some of those things that you've mentioned are really things that we don't build time in for. Conversation, you said earlier, you know, going on a walk, making lunch together. Sometimes I think of these as not activities, just things that kind of have to happen, but how they could open up and be a family activity is such a great point. Yes. That you can have good conversation doing some of those simple things once you're willing to get rid of the last. I love your next point, which is guard the calendar. This is a hard one for a lot of parents.
Oh man, we can have so many things to do and so many choices. And so it would be so wonderful if we created days that are do-nothing days. They're days where nothing's planned on the calendar, and this is when we can look around us and take advantage of what we have. And you know, one of the favorite things that children at Dancing Moose, our Montessori school, we've got slides and toys and, you know, things that are built into the playground. Do you know what's the favorite go-to toy? It is tires that are just out there. When they're, you know, the children just find something to do when there's no activity planned and they create something out of it. You can take paper bags from the store and talk about on this do nothing day, what can be our theme? And you draw pictures and on the paper bags, and you make forts out of boxes, and you allow yourself to just use the space to do whatever you want, and you can do it with your children.
And playing off that same idea, you say make nature your playground, so using kind of the elements around us.
Yes, and you know, there's some great websites. If you don't know about the plant life, the life cycles of plants, you can go to a place like Finding Nature Activities with Kids and learn about yourself, about habitats and tree habitats and buds and leaves and all kinds of things that you can teach your child. And then when you go out and hike, you can notice what's out there.
Isn't that interesting, kind of using the world around us? We sometimes don't think of the simplest things that are right in front of our faces.
Right in front of our faces, and our backyard can become our campground. It doesn't always have to be a formal trip, although that's great. But think about what's outside, the sights and sounds and feels of nature.
Thanks for the reminder, Joyce. We appreciate it.